Jr. waves the green flag. The 62nd Daytona 500 is underway. Ricky Stenhouse started outside, dropped in front of Alex Bowman. On the outside, that's 24 Byron drifting back.
Yeah, clearly they had a plan where Ricky Stenhouse Jr. was going to get down in front of the other Chevrolet of Alex Bowman. But I don't think those Fords are wanting to play that kind of game right now. They're trying to shuffle these Chevrolets to the back.
Joey Logano, Eric Almirola on the outside. Logano in yellow and red. See if Stenhouse can lead the first lap of the Daytona 500. 3 wide, 6 rows behind him. Stenhouse leads lap 1.
Boy, Joey Logano already really aggressive. Got a nice push from Eric Almirola. I thought he was going to make a move around Stenhouse as we came to the starting line.
Kyle Larson in the center lane, that lane that backed up through the middle there. Look at Stenhouse moving up to the outside to cover the spot.
Well, you know, one of the reasons why these drivers block is because track position is very valuable. If you get pushed to the back, it's not an easy task to just get back up to the front. So if you've got the momentum, you have the lead, go ahead and maintain it.
Bowman on the inside with Bubba Wallace in tow, and Austin Dillon up at the top 10 on the inside, trying to gain some ground against that outside lane, which is fully formed up.
See that inside line goes up, does a side draft to that outside line. That stalls him out a little bit, slows him down, helps you maintain. You see right there in the middle, the 4 of Kevin Harvick going 3 wide to the inside of Jimmy Johnson and William Byron. He wants to get back up to some of his Ford teammates, getting a push from one of his actual teammates, Cole Custer.
Harvick in 9th, the red car was Custer. Here's Jimmy Johnson. And you see the 4 of Harvick, the 41 of Custer moving past.
Now, all I can think of is these guys must like the way their cars are driving. They must feel some security. Maybe that cloud covers made the track nice and cool because they're very comfortable right in the middle lane. As you see Kevin Harvick lunging forward to get to the back.
He got a big push from Cole Custer.
You know, guys, to start this race, we know that Denny Hamlin in the 11, Christopher Bell in the 95 had to start at the rear of the field. The minute the green flag dropped, Martin Truex Jr. in the 19 and Eric Jones in the 20 went back there to pick them up, and they're already lined up 5 in a line, as you see right there on the inside.
Yeah, I see that, Larry, and you can see that pack that's right there. Their width that they're drafting off of has actually lost touch to the lead pack. So there's a pretty big gap between these two groups.
No points, no payoff for leading laps in this race. The Toyotas have gone back to that second pack. Stenhouse in a Chevrolet out front. Logano's Ford in second, Matt.
Logano spotter TJ Majors told me lessons learned from late last year. This package, he felt like that Joey really needed to focus on speeding up his thought process and planning his moves. That's why in lap 1 he says the Fords are lined up. Go when you want to. That's why he pulled out.
Anytime the closing rate is increased, like what we see this year, big rear spoiler, lots of horsepower, about 100, 150 more horsepower this year compared to a year ago Daytona, you have to think faster. Everything around you happens faster. You need more information from your spotter, and you need to make decisions very concise.
200 miles an hour into turn 3. Now Stenhouse is the only Chevrolet in the front 6. It's 5 Fords behind him, but they may be content to let him lead because the lead car burns more fuel faster.
Yeah, we saw and we know fuel mileage is a concern. It's something that you're going to be playing in that game all day long because you just back up the race from the end and you start it. We saw in the pace lap some of these guys saving fuel.
A nice orderly single file, shall we say, presidential motorcade at Daytona. Nine laps completed the Daytona 500. Ricky Stenhouse has led them all. The most laps that JTG Doherty Racing has led in 500 history. Chevrolet out front, 5 Fords behind him, then 3 Chevrolets, then 4 Fords. The Toyotas wasted no time in advancing to the rear. They are 32nd through 36th, way deep in this pack.
And we heard Martin Truex Jr. say to us, they've got a plan. Clearly, their plan was to drop to the back, because we saw cars like Eric Jones drop back there and pick up that group. Here's Eric Jones. I mean, right at the beginning, that's when they got the green flag, went into turn 1. Immediately, he waved those cars to the inside, went to the outside, and just dropped back to pick up his teammates.
He and 19 Martin Truex both fell way back into the 30s of this 40-car field. Single file off turn number 4, 10 laps complete. 65 laps will make up the first stage. They will need a fuel stop if we stay green during this stage. So there are the drop back cars. Also include Alex Bowman and Bubba Wallace there.
Well, the one sort of surprises me is Clint Boyer. You know, he was already starting further back than he wanted to, and he's decided to go ahead and just let it ride out. Let's see what these guys want to do, how anxious they want to be here early in the stages of the Daytona 500. And this is the advantage. Look at our telemetry on the left. You could run 195, 196 miles per hour. You're not even running 50% throttle.
That's Denny Hamlin, and that little yellow nub at the top of the circle, that is the steering angle indicator. 12 o'clock straight ahead. Well, we asked what happened to Clint Boyer. Here's Jamie.
Well, he started this race 29th, Mike, and now he slipped back to 37th. The only thing he said on the radio is this car is tight. It's out of control tight, Vince.
Well, in the 10 of Eric Almirola says the car is driving really good. And right now, as Mike, you indicated, they are very content to ride in their position right now and let Stenhouse burn the gas. But Almirola and Joey Logano, we've seen this act before. Remember, Almirola pushed Logano to a win in the duel. They said he's got a great pushing car, and we'll probably see that later today.
Here's the feel-good story of this 500. Timmy Hill from Port Tobacco, Maryland. In that 66, he's 26 years old. He had to race his way in on Thursday, and Thursday night said, if we didn't make the Daytona 500, we would have had to shut this team down. He's in 10th place. Regan.
Well, Mike, just to take it one step further, 10th place today. He was third in yesterday's Xfinity race, a career best. His crew chief, Stephen Idle, he has never called a race from atop the big pit box. We talk about nervous drivers. That is a nervous crew chief on that pit box as well.
Fourteenth place, Chase Elliott. 1.5 seconds back of the lead in that number 9 Hendrick Chevrolet. Ross Chastain with him, and then right behind him, Alex Bowman, who started outside pole, and because he was on that inside line that couldn't keep pace with the formed up outside lane, he's now dropped back to 16th.
Yeah, and we saw that's the result of Joey Logano and Eric Almirola and some of those Fords shuffling him out. They went to the outside. He was stuck in that inside lane with no help, and he went backwards a good bit. So good job on Alex Bowman to even be in 16th right now.
Chase Elliott working the low side pretty much by himself. And let's go all the way to the back of this long line of cars, and here's your NASCAR champ, Kyle Busch, 33rd. That's Martin Truex just ahead, one of those Joe Gibbs Racing Toyotas, 4 of them in this race, pretty much together.
One of the hardest things I ever did, Mike, was in a race where we decided to have a strategy to go to the back. Because as a driver, all you want to do is pass cars, run wide open. I know I've got a good handling car and a fast car, and I know I can work my way to the front. But you know what? Sometimes the strategy is to be patient, and you've got to be patient in a 500-mile race.
Drivers peeking out of line. It was Ryan Blaney that time, and here's John Hunter Nemechek to the inside in the 38. Rookie trying to gain some experience and a little ground here. 16 green flag laps complete in the 62nd Daytona 500. How about this ride above Lake Lloyd? The Daytona 500 on Fox is sponsored by Credit One Bank, the official credit card of NASCAR, perfect for race fans. And by Pizza Hut. No one out-pizzas the Hut. 20 laps and the field comes by the start-finish line under caution. A few sprinkles in turn 2 have halted things temporarily. I once worked a 4th of July race here in blazing heat, 85 degrees. I was on a scaffold in turn 4. Everybody was getting soaked down in turn 2. I was dry. It never rained in turn 4, but everybody in the infield in turn 2 was soaked. Race was delayed about 30 minutes.
But it just goes to show you how big this racetrack is. It could be raining at one end of the racetrack and completely dry on the other. Pretty good perspective to see just how long that back straightaway is.
Close to 3,000 feet. Ricky Stenhouse has led every lap of the Daytona 500 so far. With 65 laps in stage 1, well, we'll see when we come back how this might affect race strategy. First caution of the day in the Daytona 500. Welcome back to the 62nd Daytona 500. The track was dry, the cars were uncovered, the drivers were at the ready and ready to climb aboard, and you won't believe what happened. A wall of water swept across this racetrack, just a deluge, postponing the Daytona 500 until 4 p.m. tomorrow. Tough for everybody, especially for these 101,000 fans that are here. Daytona International Speedway, 10 degrees warmer than yesterday, and great weather for the Daytona 500 on Fox, which resumes at lap 21. Hi, everybody, and welcome back. Mike Joy with a Hall of Famer and 3-time 500 winner, Jeff Gordon. I have never been so excited for the start of a 500 as yesterday, and never so disappointed when the rains came. But here we go. We've got 450 miles left to race, and hey, this is the Daytona 500.
Yeah, I loved what Clint Boyer said. Yesterday was awesome. I've never seen so much energy and enthusiasm to get the Daytona 500 started. Now here we are, 24 hours later, and quite a few things have changed. The sun is out. The track temp is going to be higher. Strategy is completely changed, but one thing that's definitely not changed, Mike, it's the Daytona 500. So whatever you did as a competitor to get yourself ready to go in the Great American Race, make sure you go through those same steps, because all of those same things are still on the line.
In the 20 laps we had yesterday, Ricky Stenhouse led them all in a Chevrolet. The Fords lined up right behind him to save gas. The Toyotas all dropped to the back to run half throttle. How is it going to play out? Now that we've all had to reset, well, let's find out, beginning with Vince Welch with our pole sitter and race leader.
Well, Ricky, what did it feel like to lead the first 20 laps of the Daytona 500 yesterday and know you've got so much more to do today?
Yeah, I mean, we got 180 left. You know, I felt like those 20 laps took forever to go by. You know, the 22 is really aggressive early, and I know they're lined up behind me, and I was just trying to block and keep our Kroger Camaro up front. We were able to do that. I feel like our car drove really well and had our speed that we've, you know, had since we unloaded here, which is fun to race and fun to drive. So hopefully we can keep it up. Like you said, we've been leading this thing for a while now, but no extra laps have clicked off. So honestly, I don't care if we lead another one as long as we lead the last one, and that's all that we're worried about. But we got a really great car and a beautiful day here to get racing going again.
Good luck today.
Thank you.
Well, Kyle Busch back in the pack just a little bit further than we expected you to see. You have all your teammates back here with you, though, right now. How drastically different do you expect the plan to be today now based on the timing of the red flag?
Not a whole lot different. You know, we're still kind of underneath our same idea, our same strategy here. We think it'll work. We don't know. Obviously, you never know when cautions are going to fly, and that can always kind of derail your plans. But right now, we're going to stick to the plan, and this M&M's Camry's been pretty good so far in the 20 laps that we've run. The balance has been good. Car's fine. You know, we don't really know about speed related to the rest of the guys. We're not really hunting that right now. So with the sun being out, though, today being hot, that's what we kind of were looking for, and hopefully we're set up for.
Good luck, Kyle.
Thanks, Regan. Well, it'll be the Daytona 450 when they wave the green flag. 450 miles to go. Let's check in at the Race Hub studio with our driver and strategist. And there they are, Jamie McMurray and Larry McReynolds.
Well, Mike, we've only run 20 laps, so we really don't have to pit. But I think the timing of this caution is very interesting. I think you will come to pit road. You will make sure that thing is full of fuel because this can get you to the end of stage one. I think it's a great time to at least get 2 fresh tires. But, Jamie, I think the big thing, a lot of these drivers are looking for an adjustment right now.
I can tell that he was up all night worried about strategy. I wasn't. I went and had a good dinner. I got a good night's sleep because I'm going into today in a complete reset mode. I'm going to act like yesterday didn't happen. It's 10 degrees hotter today. It rained last night. My car is going to handle different. The biggest thing is I want to make sure I keep this guy updated on what I need at the end when the big trophy is awarded.
So, Mike, conclusion, I'm the only one that didn't get any sleep last night.
So here's how they will restart with 20 laps complete. Ricky Stenhouse led them all. And then there are those 5 Fords right behind them before William Byron and Jimmy Johnson. You see how much they've gained or lost since the start of the race.
Yeah, not a lot of change on that first page. As you go back to row 5, look at these big gains by Timmy Hill, David Reagan. And what does that mean? That means some had to lose. You saw Alex Bowman lost 14 spots.
Bunch of shuffling around in this part of the pack, all the way back to Bubba Wallace, who dropped 13 spots. And then look on the bottom line here at the Toyotas. Martin Truex dropped back 16 positions to pick up Kyle Busch and his teammates.
Yeah, we talked about these Toyotas dropping to the back. You heard from Kyle Busch. We're all very anxious to see what their strategy is.
Well, let's get late-breaking stories from pit road, beginning Matt Yoakum.
Mike, several hours of debate this morning over pit strategy, which basically has been written in pencil, depending upon your make. Now, in the Ford camp, they need about 13 gallons. So when Joey Logano hits pit road, look for his gas man, Nick Hensley, down here to hit not one, but hit it with the second can for maybe about a second and a half. That's all they need. Regan?
Well, 2-time Daytona 500 champion Denny Hamlin had to start from the rear yesterday after failing pre-race inspection. Conventional wisdom would have him moving to the front very quickly, but instead his teammates dropped back to him as part of a Toyota plan. Today, that plan does have to be altered slightly. They anticipated getting track position as things went on. Instead, they're going to have to possibly pass cars at the end of this first stage. Vince?
Kevin Harvick and his crew chief Rodney Childers, they've been together 7 years, and they will both tell you this is the best car they've ever had here at Daytona. 20 laps yesterday did not change their opinion. In recent years, the issue for Harvick has been getting caught up in someone else's mess. But if Harvick can keep his car clean, he will be a strong pick today to pick up his second Daytona 500 win. Jamie Little?
Well, Vince, his teammate Clint Boyer opted to drop to the back in those early laps of the Daytona 500 yesterday. It was actually a good opportunity for the team to get a read on his fuel mileage. That's something that can come into play today. As early as this next round of laps, 20, 30 laps to go. When he comes in for this very first pit stop, watch for the 14 to take 4 tires and pack it as full as they can get it with fuel. Mike?
Thanks, Jamie.
Good job.
Field in the back straightaway behind the safety car as they cross the start-finish line.
How cool is this
21
shot,
laps. There's our 80-mile-an-hour Fox drone cam. What a great view. That's one you can't get when you buy a ticket, only in front of your TV set.
That is awesome. I'm excited about today. You know, when the sun's out like this and this track is going to be slick, it's going to be a handful for these drivers. Going to make it very, very entertaining for all of us.
$75 degrees right now. It'll trail off to around 68 about the time this race is over. And as they come past, pit road is not yet open. There'll be a green light at the head end of pit road when the teams are allowed to pit. So we listened in on 7-time series champion Jimmy Johnson racing in his final Daytona 500 today. Here's his crew chief.
Good afternoon, everyone. Got a great afternoon for a race here. Want to say thank you to all the fans who came out yesterday and the ones who stayed over for today. Still have a great crowd in the stands. 48 team, let's buckle down, finish this thing the way we want to.
Larry Mack, I think you got competition for your job there. These crew chiefs becoming broadcasters. Have a look inside Jimmy's car at his heart rate monitor. that we have right there. His resting heart rate is right about 40 beats per minute, 71 right now into the caution flag.
We talk about the calm before the storm. Well, this is the calm because, and Jimmy Johnson's heart rate, I'm going to be honest, doesn't get very high, but this race stresses you out mentally. So as this race goes on, I can't wait to follow along with his heart rate and those beats per minute and see what affects them and what makes them go up or down. Mainly, it's going to be stress.
Now, Johnson is lined up 8th. We do expect wholesale changes in this lineup when pit road is open and the green light is on. So cars will be able to pit this time by.
How come when I operate my drone, the shots don't look quite like that?
That is a great piece of equipment we've got there, and very creative uses we're going to find for it as the season goes on.
Seeing the green light as they come through turns 3 and 4, noting that the pit road entry is going to be open this next time by.
Larry, if you don't pit now, what's your strategy?
If you don't pit now, Mike, you're going to have to pit probably with about 15 laps to go in this stage. I could not imagine going with that strategy.
Yeah, and that means you're banking on cautions because the last thing you want to do is come down pit road under green.
So looks like more than half of the field will pit. At the front of the field, all but 2 cars, McDowell and Custer, come in.
I'm seeing more 4 tires than I anticipated. Saw Joey Logano taking 4 tires and fuel. Here comes our leader, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. into his box. William Byron taking 4 tires and fuel.
Just about everyone up and down pit road wants 4 fresh Goodyears and a full tank of gas for this restart.
Well, and this track is green, so they want fresh tires because they know that you're probably going to use these tires up on this run a little bit more than normal.
So cars that did not pit: Michael McDowell, Cole Custer, Reed Sorensen, BJ McLeod, Corey LaJoie, Brendan Gaughan, Ryan Preece, and all the Toyotas.
Joey Logano taking advantage of that first pit stall in, pit stall 40, I believe they're calling it, and comes off pit road first.
Getting ready to resume the 500 in Daytona. Here's a quick word from Goodyear. Ready for the restart. It'll be 24 laps complete when they come by, as scoring resumed as soon as they brought out the yellow flag and the cars moved away. Going to be 1 more lap of caution. Thought I saw the lights off atop the safety car, but now that group up front led by Michael McDowell and Cole Custer all down toward pit road.
Now this is how close they are on fuel mileage. Look at some of these cars that just came down pit road. Joey Logano at the back of that, I don't know if he had an issue, but is he topping off fuel and coming in this time because they're so tight on their fuel window?
And here come all of the Toyotas for the first time to pit road. First time on pit road for the Joe Gibbs machines. Jimmy Johnson's team cited for too many men over the wall by that Hawkeye officiating system that NASCAR uses to electronically pass along pit road violations to the officials, who then make the call. With Kevin Harvick's stop here, it's time to kick off Busch's fastest giveaway ever. Each time Harvick pits today, fans will have a chance, however long the stop takes, to tweet #Pit4Busch and #Sweepstakes for a chance to win a new sports car. So tweet now for a chance to win. Brad Keselowski's team cited for being over the wall too soon.
Well, NASCAR's going to have to find a way to reposition him in this lineup because the lights are out on the pit road. He's up on that front row.
He would have restarted second, Ryan Newman.
Kind of anxious to see Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He's led this whole race, has had everybody in his rearview mirror. Now he's got a little work to do, but I think he's going to be just as aggressive trying to get that lead back.
Pace car dives to pit road, and here they come. Keselowski was not the car that was cited, it was Corey LaJoie. So Keselowski aligned with Ryan Newman on the restart. Apologize for bad information there.
You can see right away a lot of Fords jumping down in that inside lane to get lined up, bumper to bumper, get that inside row moving.
3 wide midway through the field. Ryan Custer was up the way outside.
Yeah, and Ryan Newman jumped up in front of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Eric Almirola gets a nice push from his teammate Kevin Harvick to move into second place. 3 wide further back, as you mentioned. Oh, we got one that slid off the bottom. There's Jimmy Johnson getting a push, going through the center.
Harvick behind his teammate Almirola in the 10.
And you see Keselowski moving lanes, goes to the outside to block that outside lane, but here comes a big run on the inside. Eric Almirola said he had a fast race car. He's showing it right now. Really heads up driving there by Kevin Harvick behind the 10 of Eric Almirola in that inside lane. You see he pushed that rear bumper, but as they got to the corner, he backed off just to make sure that Eric Almirola's car was planted into the banking.
Ricky Stenhouse, the 47, our pole sitter, a bit boxed in here, sitting in third on the outside. Here's Vince.
Eric Almirola got a big shove from Kevin Harvick, and he immediately got on the radio to his spotter and said, "Tell him I don't need it." So they didn't want the big push at that particular moment. He feels like he's got enough speed right now without the big bump from behind.
This early into the Daytona 500, I don't blame him. You know, you're up front, you're in a pretty content position. Yeah, you'd like to be leading, but how much risk do you want to take doing that? We saw him get a pretty big bump going into the tri-oval on the last lap, and his hands turned to the right as that car almost jumped sideways.
Almirola's gaining. He's got the lead into turn 1 on the inside.
Yeah, taking advantage of that shorter route on the bottom lane as those cars led by Keselowski have to run that high line. But you can see the momentum of that outside lane carries them down the straightaways.
Ford Mustangs out front for Brad Keselowski and Eric Almirola. That lead draft has about 20 cars, 21 cars in it.
And basically nothing but Fords. You got Stenhouse there in 6th in the Chevrolet and Kurt Busch in 10th.
Jimmy Johnson, how about the penalty called on Jimmy Johnson?
Yeah, what got them in trouble was actually where they're pitting with that opening in front. You're going to see the guy just step out on pit road. You see him circled right there. Just stepped out on pit road. Even though there's not a wall there, that's counted as too many men over the wall.
Thanks, Larry. And again, it was 32 Corey LaJoie. We got some bad information on whose crew was over the wall too soon. Not Brad Keselowski, who runs in this front pack in the front 3. First car on the outside to Almirola and Kevin Harvick.
Saw Jimmy Johnson give a little wave. I think it was the 37th. Behind him, Brian Priest. Probably let Jimmy in. Just showing a little thank you.
Joey Logano ran second for the first 20 laps of this Daytona 500. Matt?
Mike, in that outside lane, Logano told spotter TJ Majors a few moments ago, you're going to need to help me on the exit of turn 4 because the sun is just such a challenge. Can't see in my mirror because of the angle of the sun.
Well, that won't be a problem at the finish of this Daytona 500. The lights will be on. It'll be dark. The sparks will be flying. Hopefully just from under the car and not between cars.
Only glare you want when this race ends is from flash bulbs going off from cameras in Victory Lane.
Right.
What a different race, though, today, Mike. We saw this race take off yesterday, and I think a lot of teams had a strategy that had fuel involved. Right now, these teams are not worried about fuel. They're side by side all the way back. Bump drafting here early on. Here's Alex Bowman with the move, and his teammates lined up behind him, and William Byron and Jimmy Johnson.
Keselowski takes the high groove to the front with Ryan Newman and Stenhouse in tow. Then Custer, Logano, and Matt DiBenedetto, who's new to the 21 of the Wood Brothers this year. Now going to the other end of the field in 36th place, Clint Bowyer. Jamie.
And just like we saw yesterday, Mike, Clint Bowyer by design has chosen to fall to the back. He just feels like that is his best bet to be safe and be there at the end. It has not been nice to him. The Daytona 500, that is, over the last few years, he has a hard time finishing these races. Now, I talked to his crew chief, and he's new this year, Johnny Klausmeyer. Johnny worked with our actually he's in third now, Eric Almirola, of the last 2 years. Eric likes to be up front. So Johnny told me with Clint falling to the back, it's a whole different dynamic setup. You have to look at different fuel mileage numbers, but he's going to hold out and hope that it works for him today.
Clint told me yesterday, I hate racing my guts out here only to get caught up in somebody else's mess.
I don't know what the right strategy is, Mike. I've talked to a lot of drivers down the garage area. I've done it myself where I've pushed really hard to be up front, try to stay out of trouble, and you still get caught up in it. You ride around in the back, and even then, when it's time to go, you still get caught up in a wreck. So there is no set strategy that really works, no real game plan. You just got to go for it and stick with whatever your plan is.
With 33 laps complete, Fords have 9 of the top 10 spots. And we'll be back with more from Daytona. But first, here's a special message from Wendy's.